Nothing brings me joy like living beyond my means.
I am financially irresponsible. I am.
There's no way you can get into a vehicle with a 355 credit score, no money down, and bought a 2024 BMW X5. You're paying over $1,400 a month on the payment, and you can't afford it anymore, correct?
Correct.
So today we're going to be taking a look at people just honestly living above their means. And what I've found, it's for many reasons, whether they want to compare themselves to people they see online, wanting to replicate their lifestyle and going into heavy amounts of debt for it, or they're doom spending because the world's coming to an end, as if people haven't been saying that since the beginning of time, or just a lack of financial knowledge in general. They don't look at their bank statements or credit card bills, they just assume their income is paying for all of it, which in my opinion is an insane way to live. But we have a lot to go over today, so let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But let's start off this video with an influencer story.
I am financially irresponsible. I am. I don't have a savings account. I'm 29 years old and I no longer have a savings account. I'm making the most minimum payments on my student loans. I graduated college back in 2018, still paying off those loans. The most minimum payments. I'm living back at home. I don't have my own car. I obviously don't have a home. Instead, you know what I do? I buy tickets on impulse to go to Italy, to go to Europe. I use Afterpay, I use Affirm, I use Klarna. I get my groceries on Instacart for the whole buy now, pay later feature. And I don't care. I really don't. Like, I'm being so for real right now.
I think you're gonna care when it's 10 years down the road and you're almost 40 in the same spot. But let's just go over to the comment section. We're paying student loans? Well, if you don't, they're gonna start garnishing your wages. I'm living paycheck to paycheck right now and I don't have debts or large bills and I still can't afford to travel. I'm too scared to do the Afterpay thing for traveling, but you're influencing me. Great. The creator responds, I'm just so tired of existing. I'm not trying to influence my current financial decisions onto anyone else. Kinda sounds like you are. I just choose to meet my minimum payments and necessities to survive, which don't seem to be too much because you're living back home with your parents and you don't own a car, but I take the rest of my money to live the life I dream of. I don't care what my bank account looks like, I'm not missing out on that trip. Why are your parents enabling this? I get living at home, but that's when you should be saving your money. Parents are not going to be around forever. I agree with this. I think this is one of the examples that give kids living at home at an older age a bad rap to most people. I'm almost the exact same age as this influencer and I've talked to you guys about it. I've been living on my own for a little bit over 2 years, but when I lived with my parents and had almost no expenses, especially compared to now, I was working and saving as much as I could. I wasn't taking impulse trips to Italy, impulse buying everything that I wanted at the time, and because of that, I set myself up for the future. Not paying rent and still can't save as long as you keep the same energy in 20 to 30 years and don't blame others. It takes a lot of dedication and discipline to get financially ahead in this economy, but if you don't try and give up, you're putting yourself in a box. Now, we've actually seen this creator on the channel already talking about student loans, so I'll give you a little refresher, and you could see how different of a tune she's playing in this clip compared to the first.
These student loans, like the calls, are really making me regret ever going to college, considering I'm not even doing anything in my degree. But like, these calls are just a reminder that I'm like, first of all, doing nothing with my life. Second of all, broke as shit. And yes, I hee hee ha ha about it here, but like, it's literally not a joke. It's like embarrassing, and it's like the most stressful thing. And I never want to be the person that's like driven by money. Like, that's not me, but like sometimes I wish I was, so I wouldn't be in the position I am in. And like, dealing with these calls and having to basically say my situation, like, I literally cannot pay off an amount on these damn student loans.
But from the first clip, it seems like you can't make the payments because you're spending all of your money immediately. But we could take the next step and talk about some of these giant influencers.
Okay, so I don't know about y'all, but I've noticed that there's a huge influx of broke influencers on TikTok that are begging for money, and some of them even being involved in scams. Yesterday, I saw this TikToker who had almost 1 million subscribers or followers, and she was involved in a GoFundMe scam, and the GoFundMe got shut down. And it's just like, the problem with so many of these TikTokers is that, or any influencer, is that they're living above their means. And something that my grandma taught me as a kid that I'll never forget is she said, if you cannot buy something with cash in hand right now, then you cannot afford it. Or if the money isn't in your checking account right now, the full amount, you can't afford it. And it's like, I've seen so many scandals over the years of influencers, from YouTube or any, community that have gone broke because they start to live above their means.
I think the creator's TikTok name is Tara Lynn. She has millions of followers. At one point, she was talking about making $350,000 a month and is currently having issues talking to her followers, saying that she's broke and can't afford her $25,000 a month mansion in LA. If that isn't an example of living above your means, I don't know what is, but we have another example up on screen right now. This is what a lot of the gurus and alpha male course sellers do all the time. POV, it's your turn for the group R8 and Rolex, just so they could all make the same type of content in their penthouse suite in Miami also, and you just need to buy my Forex or dropshipping AI course, and you could be just like me, but they're lying to you as well.
Like the Chrome. So you owe how much on this?
I owe 31.
What's it worth?
So right now I see the market and everything was like on 40 something.
No way. Can you start up for me? Moment of truth. It's got cats. It's got kittens.
I just want to get rid of this car. I co-signed with somebody else, and then that person just gave me two options. Give the car to her. That's something that I'm not
She's
doing.
not here, right?
Not yet.
We can't take it.
I can call her and do everything through the phone. She can be on FaceTime. I just want to get rid of the car.
She has to be here. So you're saying that you and her are on this loan,
Yeah.
and you want to trade it in?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this car's worth 30.
I owe 31.
You owe 31.
Can you do like at least, because I will not have no down payment, can I at least do 33? Just like to have something on the other car.
You're buying this car right here?
It can be this one. It can be the other one. I saw some M3s in the back.
Do you want it to be this one? That price online is firm on that. I think it's 82 or maybe less. Maybe they lowered the price already.
So this guy had to co-sign with his girlfriend or possibly ex-girlfriend just to be able to get this Supra that he's still underwater on currently, but wants to get rid of it for an $80,000 M3. He also has his Chrome Hearts hoodie on, looking the part when he has no business in purchasing these items. Couldn't afford a $30,000 Supra, now wants an $80,000 BMW. Owing $30K while trying to level up into $80K more is just absolutely crazy work. There are just some people you can't talk out of their bad financial decision. You just have to let it play out. And eventually it'll turn into this clip.
When the economy was hot, they only had lane 15, 14, maybe sometimes 13 for all reapers. Now they're gonna all the way to 8. Meaning these are all repossessions. Used to be always on lane number, Westlake used to be on lane 14, 13. Now it's on 10. So all these are bank repos. All of these are bank repos. That is freaking insane, dude. From this line forward, over 1,000 vehicles on this auction per week. Only this auction.
I mean, look at the video. It looked like a dealership, a sea of vehicles all lined up because they were all repossessions, purchases that people couldn't actually afford. To me, this sounds like an absolutely awful choice to make, but when you start seeing clips like this pop up on social media, your For You page, it starts getting hammered into your head. People take it to heart and make those types of choices.
Nothing brings me joy like living beyond my means. Sure, I could have saved up my money. I didn't need to make that impulse purchase, but you know what? I'll enjoy it. That trip that I'm going to go on later, I'll enjoy it. Those items that I bought, I'll enjoy using them. It doesn't matter, okay? Sue me. Was it a bad decision? Maybe, okay? But it brought me joy in that moment. I know at the end of a I deserved it week, I'll feel some guilt and I'll not want to look at my bank app and I'll avoid that. But you know what? I deserved it, okay? That moment was worth it.
Except we're seeing more and more examples of people saying that it's not worth it. You going on that week-long cruise and then having to pay it off in installment loans weeks or months later, and if you can't afford it, the interest starts accruing, doesn't seem too worth it to me. Again, the impulse spending on Amazon, online shopping, just a couple clicks of the button, it'll be at your doorstep the next day. You get the dopamine hit of having the item, opening it up, using it for a little bit, and then it disappears. What do you go and do? Pull something else up on your phone and buy another thing. You just start collecting trinkets and products that you don't even want or use anymore, but at the end of the day, it all used to be money in your bank account. Klarna loves me with almost 7,000 likes. The money always came back. Really? Because at this point in time, inflation is not keeping up with wages. Everyone's wallets are feeling more empty. So the people who think that the money's always going to come back or you have to have the abundance mindset, are they just getting sent checks in the mail with free cash? Because I'd like to sign up, but if you do legitimately have that type of mentality, you would probably end up like this example.
What is one bad financial decision that you regret making in life?
Okay, when I was young,
I blew my credit cards.
Like maxing them out?
Maxed them out. I'm like, oh, I'll pay it. The other circumstances happen, didn't pay them. You know what I'm saying? Life happens, so I would say that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Credit card bills.
What did you max out your credit cards on?
Ooh, a lot of stuff, like designer,
Yeah.
even like, I did the most. I'm not gonna lie, I did the most.
Trying to live that luxury lifestyle and it eventually comes back to bite you. But it's fun and relatable to post this kind of stuff on social media now. I really can't afford to go on another vacation right now. I'm in severe debt. And then just a collage of vacations. Me in Paris in debt, Puerto Rico, Colombia, New York, Florida Keys, the Virgin Islands. When you're having a good time, but then remember your Klarna debt. I owe like $800. When I found out I could use Klarna for Deliveroo, me and my big back knew I was finished. Which if you don't know what Deliveroo is, it's just another type of Uber Eats. Every time I pay one off, it's like a little treat to start another. Why did you have to remind me? I was just trying to relax. I have $1,300 in debt. Don't remind me, I get emails every day. Do you guys not have savings? The creator responds, no. They stopped my purchasing power because I owe like $1,300. Why did you remind me? Never ending debt. The comments just keep going on and on. POV, you're playing the hardest game in the world, Klarna approval. Shopping at retail stores when you literally don't have any money and are worried that Klarna would even give you credit. What kind of life is that? Wait, we could do that in stores now? They need to make it easier like Afterpay. Klarna in the stores are so complicated. I hope that these types of videos are like scared straight to many people, because at least in my own life, I'm a pretty wound up person, so having this type of financial stress on me all the time, I don't even know how I'd function. But again, financial distress is never taken seriously online.
The economy is like really bad right now, you guys. And you would not know it with the way I've been spending, but it's like really bad.
You look happier, thanks. I've been spending beyond my means. I have even more examples of these types of clips, but you guys get the gist. We'll just move on to the next example.
I hate treat yourself culture because you are not treating yourself, you are emotionally regulating with a credit card. And companies know this, which is why they have rebranded a lot of this impulse buying, emotional regulation buying as self-care. We are all burnt out, stressed, barely holding it together. And at some point, spending money has become for a lot of people this go-to solution for feeling better. You know, if you're having a bad day, you want to order delivery. If you're anxious, you'll go get a little treat. And this is statistic that young people especially tend to engage in this little treat culture by kind of spending little amounts of money to make themselves feel better. And it's rebranded as idea of like self-care when really it's a coping mechanism and an unhealthy way to self-soothe when you feel discomfort or negative emotions.
One thing that I think is interesting, especially in recent times, so many people are tired of giant corporations. They own everything. Nobody could afford basic needs. Everything's so expensive, which I think is a valid point, but then are completely okay with the credit card companies having record-breaking profits because of things like treat yourself culture, which is just a marketing scheme at the end of the day. It's not about self-care or making you feel better. They just want you to buy more crap, because eventually when you can't pay it off anymore, that 20 or 30% interest rate is going to be brutal. But there are so many people who don't see it for what it really is, and then you're in a constant debt cycle for the rest of your life. Ever since the treat yourself thing became popular, I felt like it was propaganda to spend, so thank you for voicing this. Now, as I've said before many times on this channel, hopefully these types of videos help you with either your financial literacy, improve ways to save money, increase your savings, anything along the lines of that, but I thought this theory from this next example was too interesting not to put in this video.
You know that theory that if you take all of the money in the world and split it up evenly between each person, that it will eventually get back to the people who had it in the first place? I used to think that that theory wasn't true until I started working in a billing environment and seeing that no matter how many times I help the same people over and over and over, they will not get it together. They continue to end up late, behind. They just never get it together. And no matter how many times I try to tell them, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this, they just can never get it together. They still have to pay the same amount one day to the next day. It's a 12-hour difference maybe, and they pay almost double just because they can't get it together.
So hopefully you're not in this type of boat, but for some, they could go to a financial advisor. They could say all the same things that I talk about and show you on this channel, but it just goes right over their head because it's boring. Maybe bringing in real world examples with the TikTok clips, the drama with the Caleb Hammer guests, can open this to more people's eyes and see how dangerous financially this could be to your life. We have another example right here from just a few years ago talking about these stimulus checks.
What is one bad financial decision that you regret making in life?
Spending $1,000 on shoes.
$1,000 on shoes? Like on one pair of shoes or multiple shoes?
It was like 2 pairs of shoes. It was a Sakai. It was back in 2020 when the Sakai Nikes, when they came out. I spent $1,000 on 2 pairs.
Was that with like the stimulus check?
That was a stimulus check, yeah. So I was like 18. I was getting the unemployed checks. So I was like, I'm gonna get these shoes because this is my dream shoe.
Yeah.
Bro, once I look at them, I was like, they're ugly as I'm not gonna wear these. So like, that was my worst financial decision.
And then, did you sell them? Did you keep them?
I sold them. But I sold them like low, bro. So I sold the 2 pairs for like 600.
Okay, so you're down 400.
Of course.
And then what'd you do with the rest of that money?
Spent on stupid.
On more shoes?
More shoes, but on stupid shit. So.
The comment section doesn't make this any better. $718 car payment when I was only bringing in $3.5K a month. Spending $15,000 at the casino in less than 2 hours. $300 on Panda Dunks. $1,000 is nothing to be sad about. What are you talking about? I think every single person on the face of the planet would like an extra $1,000 in their bank account today. $82,000 on a car that's now worth $35 to $40K now 4 years later, and that's not too surprising to me. We have seen many examples of that.
One thing that I will never understand, and you're not going to change my mind about this, is the whole you have to live as if money is abundant and that's what you'll attract mindset. That is literally just a justification to be spending a lot of money and live outside of your means. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely do think that you need to have the mindset that money worldwide is abundant. As in, there doesn't have to be winners and losers. Everyone can get wealthier and increase their quality of life together. Almost like the why not me mindset. But to say that you want to live a very wealthy lifestyle, so that's how you're going to live today, is a bit delusional. The reason why I'm even talking about this is because I saw this exact same TikTok video yesterday where that phrase was as like text on screen, and the video behind it was of this beautiful apartment, like literally a multi-million-dollar like gossip girl apartment. And to say like that's how you're going to live your life so that you attract that type of wealth doesn't make any sense to me.
It's all marketing. I've seen a coach promote the same thing, saying it's codes she's unlocked. And I could almost guarantee she's selling a course as well. Perfect way to put it, money won't magically appear just because you keep spending it. I think my money is abundant. It's more abundant when I make good choices and stop giving it away.
How much debt do you have?
Like $168,000.
None of which is a house. Why do you have 2 car loans?
I have 2 vehicles.
Why?
So it's 58 miles for me to drive to work every day, and the truck is an 8-cylinder Silverado.
Good, get rid of it.
I can't. I ended up getting like a really great deal on that truck.
Yeah, really great deal. You owe $60,724.55, making $24,000 a year.
How does he get approved for 2 car loans making $24,000 a year? Why is he driving 58 miles to a job that pays him $24,000 a year? That was all the comments. Legitimately bringing in $2,000 a month having 2 car payments. We could keep going on with the car stuff as well.
We've had this truck for 2 days now. I'm on my 2nd day coming to the gas station. $107. It's still going. 23 gallons. I get 8 miles a gallon. 24 gallons. So, there we go. $112. It looks like it's going to be $112 every 2 days to fill up gas in the Rex.
You didn't know that before you bought a $700 horsepower truck? It's not a fuel saver. Didn't know, don't care. It sounds like you care a bit when you start recording yourself pumping gas complaining about how expensive it is and upload it on TikTok. But it is real cool to drive around in the Ram TRX, even though it sounds like you can't really afford it.
That you went and got a designer bag.
Yeah, so I wanted...
You gotta treat yourself. Maybe pay off a little debt, go get a nice designer bag.
I wanted that, so in my head, so my dad left us the house, and when we sold it...
That's what he wanted, was a nice bag.
I was like, this is a gift from my dad. When he passed away.
You don't think he would have wanted you to have just a better life, though? More than anything?
for sure. But I just look at the bag and I use it every day. It's not like I don't use it. And I look at the bag and I think of my dad.
Okay, and if mom's holding the money, is there any left? Is she giving you more beyond it? What is happening with that?
So yeah, she's holding on to like whatever's left. It's kind of the
Of your 50 or of the entire thing?
The lines are blurred at this point.
To me, it kind of sounds like the mom's keeping the money because she knows her daughter squanders it on purses. But wasn't the house what he wanted you to have? Especially in 2025 with housing prices being so expensive. If you were passed down a home from your father, you are so much more financially ahead than most of the people in the country right now. But you sold it and thank God you got a Chanel or Louis Vuitton purse. I'd rather have money in my purse, not spending it on the purse. One of my cousins is like this. Life-changing money went to a new Kia, 2 Xboxes, and I trust my contractor, bunch of home improvements. The way that was worded seems pretty shady. Maybe the home renovations are the only thing that I could get behind, especially if the house was falling apart. But on the same subject of houses, we could go to this next example.
3 years ago, I bought a house that I couldn't afford. I could afford it at the time, and then 3 months after I bought the house, I lost my job. And I have been hustling ever since. Every single month, I work my butt off, working 2 to 3 jobs just to pay for this roof over my head. So let's do a house tour. This is what $800,000 buys you in Portland, Oregon.
So this woman is killing herself because she purchased a house she couldn't afford. Kind of sounds like right off the bat, let alone her getting laid off after the fact. $815,000, and I have the clip up on screen. I personally think it's a very nice house, and she goes through room by room, and unfortunately, there is only 1 bathroom in the entire home. For something that you paid almost 7 figures for? I know that Portland, Oregon, that whole area, Washington, Seattle, is just wildly expensive, but her paying $5,000 a month is what she said, just does not seem worth it to me. Longtime Portland, Oregon resident here, that house is gorgeous, but not $800,000 gorgeous. $5,000 a month is terrible. Being house poor is no way to live, and keeping up with the Joneses is no way to live. The creator responds, I don't think buying a 1,700 square foot, 1 bathroom, non-updated home is keeping up with the Joneses. That may be so, but it does sound like you're house poor and living way beyond your means.
There's no way you can get into a vehicle with a 355 credit score, no money down, and bought a 2024 BMW X5. You're paying over $1,400 a month on the payment, and you can't afford it anymore, correct?
Correct.
I'm glad we're able to connect, and if you could just kind of briefly summarize what you got going on.
So I recently, I bought a car, BMW X5 2024, on June 2023, 2 years ago. I have a good IT job. I make around 118 a year. So I pay monthly $1,447 in car. I had other business income, extra income. But 1.5 years ago, I went through a divorce. Divorce is done. My finances are still stuck. Now, I have a heavy credit card, Amex Platinum, this, that. I have all those cards. Now, the problem is I've not missed a single payment with the car. I pay on time, good income. The credit cards, all income went too high. I lost my house. I'm living on rent. The problem is now the car payments are too much for me. I want to give away the car.
Okay, so even with almost $10,000 a month coming in, he was still being stretched thin with the amount he was paying for everything, and the house of cards starting to collapse. A little bit more context, we go over to the comments. How did he even get approved with a 355 credit score? I have no idea. $82,000 in credit card debt, and Yusuf didn't even flinch. He responds, I've heard worse. $118K a year, and he has nothing to show for it. For an IT guy, he's not very smart. To me, this does sound a lot like keeping up with the Joneses, being decently successful but still living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe that's not even the case with the $82,000 in credit card debt, and with any sort of hiccup in your life you can no longer afford it and everything comes crumbling down. But we're going to finish off this video with some advice.
Do you actually want it, or do you just want other people to see you have it? Like, if the rest of the world was extinct, would you really be walking around with a Louis Vuitton bag? Like, I don't really think you would care that much. Status makes people feel important, and material possessions oftentimes can give people status. I saw a quote once that said, it's not about the art, it's about the reaction of the audience. Like, people legitimately care more about how other people perceive things than they do about how they perceive it themselves. And the result of this is that our entire society is fake. Everybody is wearing a mask, and they do things just to gain social currency.
Some live life through the perception and opinions of others. Some sadly without even knowing it, making life choices that eventually lead them to a place where they don't feel comfortable, especially when we're talking about finances. Did it really happen unless we post it on social media? And I think this has been exacerbated even more because everybody could connect with each other online now.
I'm maybe 24 years old and $28,000 in debt, but I work 2 full-time jobs pretty much, financially independent, live alone, pay everything on my own. So I'm gonna get myself a sweet treat. I'm gonna get myself whatever the hell I want. I'm never telling myself no. They say don't buy it unless you can afford it twice. I couldn't even afford it once. Still got it though.
So a couple things with this one. She said that she was living on her own, paying her own bills, but then simultaneously being in $28,000 worth of debt. So it doesn't really sound like everything's getting paid off. And something we're going to see throughout this entire video, just feeding into the instant gratification. I'm going to get whatever I want whenever I want. I deserve it. I work 2 full-time jobs. However, that same line of thinking is eating into most of your salary. I also find this kind of odd to record this and put it up on the internet in the first place. I don't know what type of reaction she was trying to look for, or maybe she was just hoping to go viral to get that dopamine hit. But I asked you guys in an older video, do you know someone who lives above their means? Everyone in my family. I'm the only one who knows if I make X amount of money, I could only spend X. I have a coworker that got a jacked up truck and he didn't even know what the price was going to be before deciding to get it. Wow. My sister-in-law, she has the money to go to Disneyland all the time, but can't even afford her kids' tuition for school. My father-in-law sadly pays for it. She gets Amazon packages like crazy and throws parties all the time, while her husband works hard. Sad. My brother, his image is everything, doesn't do delayed gratification, wants everything now, and it has to be grand in size. But now we can move on to an example of some pretty absurd family spending.
I'm currently down a rabbit hole with my finances, and I'm thinking this stuff is really interesting, and I wanted to share it with you guys for true transparency. I'm looking at how much I spent last year versus this year, and I'm on track to spend about the same. And to give you a glimpse of my life, I am a working mom. My husband works. We have twin girls that are 3.5 years old, and we live in Pennsylvania, not far from Philadelphia. And we spend about $140,000 a year. First time I heard that number, I was like, whoa, that seems like a lot of effing money. Like, how are we spending that much money a year? But if you calculate in mortgage, interest, childcare, food, gas, like all the expenses, that's what you get. So now I'm curious, like, is that how much other people are spending too? Or am I way overspending? Am I underspending? Like,
okay, so if you thought that clip was bad, the comment section blows it out of the water. We spend almost $140,000 on our mortgage alone, so I think you're doing great. I spend that much without kids. Hope this helps. I'm in California and spend the same, girl. Life is expensive and I don't like to cook. We live in New York and sure spend that. Life is crazy these days. Do I make anywhere close to that amount? Definitely not. Do I spend my entire salary? Yes. With a heart from the original creator. You're in good shape. We have 4 kids, spend $100,000 on a mortgage, $180,000 in tuition, and $120,000 in credit cards. The expenses are exhausting. Is this just a bait comment? I hope it is. And now we could go over to a clip with an actual lottery winner squandering all of it and going into debt.
I'm a former lottery winner. I won $1 million.
$1 million?
Yeah, $1 million on a scratch ticket in the state of Virginia when I was 28, and I'm 36. I have gone through it all. So I am a part of that statistic that, 80 or 90% of lottery winners lose it. I swore that I wouldn't be, but here I am. And
what was the take home after the
$766,000 was what the actual ticket was worth. It wasn't actually worth $1 million. I know that's what they advertised. And then I paid taxes on that. So take home was $555.
And over the span of 8 years, you drained that $555 in your bank account to zero.
Yes, sir.
For the benefit of the listeners and a dark curiosity, can you tell us where that money went?
Obviously, I bought the ticket, so I gambled to buy the ticket, right? So that never stopped. It was more so with casinos, sports gambling, etc. Quite embarrassed by it.
Absolutely. Well, this is clearly, there's addictive behavior here. Have you dealt with that over the last 8 years? Are you still grappling with that?
Yes.
Now I know at the end of the day, $500,000 isn't something to completely retire and be able to live out your days doing whatever you want. However, I don't think I have to tell you that's a significant amount of money. But for some people, it's just never enough when we're talking about gambling. If I go to a casino with this kind of money, I could double it and then I could be a millionaire. And rarely does that ever happen. You just develop a gambling problem. Now that $500,000 has disappeared, the gambling problem's still there, and your life is spiraling out of control. The first comment here, he did not win a lot of money. I didn't realize that everybody had a spare $500,000 in their bank account at all times. Like I just said, you can't go and retire off of that money, but you could completely pay off your house or put that in investments, get returns every year, making your financial burden much easier to deal with for the rest of your life. $550,000 would change my life. There's also people that didn't know that you get taxed. Getting taxed for a lottery winning is insane. They will tax you for absolutely anything.
You decided to get a Porsche.
Yeah.
And you can't pay for groceries? What do you think this car is worth?
And I bought it for 89, and maybe I could get 90,000 for it. I don't think it depreciates as much as other cars.
What kind of Porsche, by the way?
A 21 Macan.
Okay.
Turbo.
You owe 65 on it. You could probably sell it for 64. Get rid of the Porsche today, dude.
And then what do I drive? The car that I got is pre-owned. It's not a brand new one.
So let's spend $1,500 a month on a used car. Okay. Sure.
Well, customer service is excellent, and it was only $20,000 more than what I paid for the Ford Edge.
I've never paid $20,000 a month for customer service before.
Okay, so we got a ton of stuff in this clip. So looking up used Porsche Macan turbos, a 2024 is around $43,000. I'm seeing 50, 34. This one's only $19,000 with over 100,000 miles. 22,000, 45. So even selling it for 65 after you paid $90 is a reach. I'm guessing she saw some videos about 911s holding their value pretty well recently. So she just thought that all Porsches across the board did the same thing, and that is not the case. So she's going to get rinsed selling that vehicle, but it was worth the $1,500 a month because they also have really nice customer service at the dealership. It doesn't even really make sense. And the other comment that it was only $20,000 more than her Ford Edge, does that mean she previously bought a Ford Edge for $70,000? There is no way. I mean, there has to have been a 30% interest rate then. Just a whole host of terrible decisions just to be able to drive around with that Porsche logo on the car. The top comment is just a screenshot of another Porsche Macan for $36,000. She bought a $36,000 Porsche for $90,000. She thinks the Macan is worth $90,000. $89,000 for a pre-owned Macan soccer mom car is diabolical. But if you watch this channel, you know there's unlimited content when talking about vehicles. Homeless right now, but still in a Charger. Oh man, calm down everyone. He doesn't have his priorities straight, but remember, he's still got a Charger. Honestly, I'd rather have a nice car than a house. That's a pretty sound financial decision in today's world. But whatever, who cares? Just buy anything that you want. Doesn't matter if you filed bankruptcy because you couldn't pay it back in the first place. Just go do it all again and be in the debt cycle forever.
So when I posted my video about buying a new truck, after doing a bankruptcy, some people are saying this and saying that. No, check it out. You could do a bankruptcy, and the same month that you go to court and get it discharged and they send you the paperwork saying it's discharged, you go into a dealership, like over here at Gresham Dodge, and they'll put you in a vehicle, a brand new vehicle. I originally came in here after my bankruptcy, and they got me a $60,000 loan on a pickup truck right after my bankruptcy. So if you want any of these new Jeeps, or you want some of the new Rams that are over there, or that one right there, and you got to do a bankruptcy, do your bankruptcy. It's $1,400. You come in here the same month you get your discharge paperwork, finance a brand new vehicle, and drive off the lot and start building your credit.
Sure, start building your credit. I highly doubt the same people who just filed for bankruptcy are going to be able to afford to make payments on a $60,000+ vehicle, with obviously terrible interest rates. I also like to add, of course, the vehicles he was advertising are some of the worst cars you could get on the market. The Jeeps, the Rams, anything Stellantis are just incredibly unreliable and depreciate very quickly. Coming right out of bankruptcy and going $60,000 in debt on a truck is wild. Yeah, after bankruptcy it's 30% interest, tell them that. that. What's the point of getting out of debt just to go back into debt? Because it feels nice driving around in a brand new 2026 Ram 1500, even though you have no business in doing so. We got a comment from you guys right here. Pro ball players prove on a daily basis that you can make $10 million a year and spend $11 million, and things are going to go wrong. That's why I think financial literacy is so important in today's world. Along with so many people living above your means, it doesn't matter if you make $10,000 a year or $10 million. You spend more than what's coming in, you're gonna end up broke. And I think this is a perfect transition into some of the influencers and the amount of money they spend.
How the f does this degenerate make so much money? How does he do so well? How do you afford a Ferrari? You just moved to Miami. You're doing all this crazy.
I do spend a lot of my money. In terms of my peers around me, I definitely spend more of my income than them. Like I know other people probably save their money, but the problem is I've had such solid cash flow for literally 5 years and it's ruined my idea of saving money to me. For 5 years, bro, I've had fantastic amount of cash flow that I'm so grateful for. Every month I'm spending 30, 40 grand, but I'm still making 60, 70, $80,000 or $100,000 a month.
Okay, so let's say that that's actually true. 5 years of solid income in the grand scheme of things, along with this kind of regular spending, is not nearly as long as you think. I know in the influencer world, you could blow up and within a few months just completely disappear and all of your income dries up. But even with him making more money than he's spending over the past 5 years, whenever that day does inevitably come and people stop watching, you're going to be so used to spending ludicrous amounts of money 24/7 that you're still going to end up losing all of it.
But like I said, I know everybody's wondering how much was I making. So I want to say during the years of 2017 through like 2020, 2021, maybe the beginning of it, on average, I think like my yearly salary was around like $300 to almost $400,000 from social media. Where the was the money going? I had moved into a apartment. I moved into my first solo apartment, high-rise apartment in Brooklyn, and my rent there was 4.3. So there's that in rent. I was also spending an average of anywhere between like $6,000 to $8,000 a month on my credit card because I was just buying myself whatever the hell I wanted at the time. I was also spending a lot of money on all of my friends because I was making the most amount of money at the time and I just wanted to like spend it on everybody else. And then, you know, I was just doing stupid shit at the time because I had like a lot of money. Like I would go to the club with my friends and spend $1,000. Like it was ridiculous.
Now what I would say is that I hope that this doesn't happen in today's world 2026 because there are so many stories like this of people almost 10 years ago when social media popularity was exploding. They thought this was going to last forever. I could spend as much money as I want. It's all right. And then the popularity and money fades and they come to realize that they wasted so much of their cash. But on the other hand, the previous clip we saw of somebody spending a crazy amount of money was a pretty recent clip. So I don't know, it just seems like these clips are going to constantly roll out in the future, but we can move on to the insane thought process for buy now, pay later loans.
You got kicked off Affirm.
It makes sense to me. You're getting what you want when you want it, but you're only paying it in fourths. So like 1/4 and then 1/4 and 1/4.
Yeah, but why'd you get kicked off?
I bought my mom a purse for her birthday.
How much was the purse?
I think it was like $400.
You bring in $50,000 a year. Well, rent's only $500.
$570.
Hearing that number of rent's usually the biggest ongoing expense. So maybe it was so high that she's almost forced to afterpay for groceries. No.
Never
even heard of getting kicked off Affirm.
I'm pretty sure it's in collections.
So the farther we got into the clip, the worse it got. One of the biggest expenses for anybody is where they live, renting or a mortgage, and her rent being only $570 would put her in a way better financial situation than most people out there today, but it doesn't matter. She ends up getting banned from Affirm because she can't pay back her loans for all the crap she's buying. Amazing. We got another comment from you guys right here. In Bulgaria, this is so common, it's comical at this point. People take out loans just to impress other people they don't care about, cars, bags, phones, clothes, you name it. And at the end of the month, they call you to ask to lend some money. Honestly, I know this economy is tough right now, but borrowing money from loan sharks just so you could gamble or buy something to impress someone else is just silly. But people love to share every aspect of their life on social media, even if they can't afford what they're showing off. We got another series of photos with a bunch of people hopping on this trend. I should have saved money to buy a house in 2025. Anyway, here's me at the NBA Finals. Indiana football game, we have Mardi Gras draw, Clemson LSU football game, the NFL playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs, a Jonas Brothers concert, another Pacers playoff game, a Bills game in Buffalo, Sabrina Carpenter concert, WNBA playoffs, Disney World, Eastern Conference Finals, and moving to another state. This goes on and on. Told my husband we're going to save money this year. And then they bought a new car, bought a house as well, ripped out the carpet, flooring, and painting, and more remodeling, changing the backsplash. Then the husband gets a brand new pickup truck, and later that same year, I get a new car because I want more room. 2 cars in 1 year, and to top it off, an 8-day vacation. We should really save money this year. Yeah, you're right. Disney trip number 1, Nashville girls trip, birthday cruise, Disney trip number 2, Disney trip number 3, and going to Universal. This entire video could have just been this trend alone. It's insane to me how little people take this seriously.
My favorite time of the month is when my husband decides to go through all of our credit cards and I'm just getting texts from him asking what all of the purchases were.
The truth is, I don't want to be financially responsible. I don't think it was my calling. And I hate to walk in anything but my purpose. And that's the truth.
It's very interesting seeing these clips where seemingly people's entire personality is just overconsumption and being materialistic. We got a perfect example right here. A message to my daughter's future husband. This is how she spends Christmas with a Sephora bag on the way back to her suite at the Atlantis. We're just gonna go straight over to the comments. We're teaching ours to stay away from the materialistic ones. The middle class cosplaying as rich. The Atlantis isn't the flex you think it is. The wealth is silent. You guys are loud. This is so weird. Just spend time with your kid. Don't use them as a weird prop. OMG, Sephora, I could never dream of affording that. Wow, you're so rich. I don't know, some people online are very odd, but a comment from you guys goes perfectly with these types of clips. The fact that people want to remain financially ignorant of their situation is remarkable to me. Until one day you're going to have to face it and it'll be a rude awakening.
In 2022, I was making $126,000 a year. 2023, I was laid off, I had no emergency fund, and ended up in $72,000 worth of debt. It took me 6 months to find a job, and here we are. 2 years later, I've only knocked down that debt by $5,000. And all of this could have been avoided if it was budgeting. A 7-year-old version of me must have thought that budgeting and making that much money was contradictory because it never crossed my mind. Looking back at it now is so painful because where could I be right now if I had just been more responsible then? Right now, my job doesn't cover I have to work doing side hustles just to make the minimums on my bills. And I have to work more beyond that, afford groceries and gas without going more into debt. My retirement plan is non-existent. And if it sounds like I'm trying to scare you, I am. Because I can't do anything to fix my mistakes. And the only thing that I can do is putting this nightmare that is my financial situation out there, showing them what can happen if you don't take care of your finances.
But I think especially that salary she was talking about that she had in 2022, $126,000, a lot of people start to change when you get to that $10,000 a month threshold, because in most areas that is a lot of money. Of course, if you live in super expensive areas in California or New York City, it's not going to go nearly as far, but for most other areas, you would be pretty comfortable. So there's no need to save or have an emergency fund. I'm getting those checks bi-weekly until unfortunately you get laid off. And I mean, in this job market, trying to find something else is going to be extremely difficult. And now she's paying her minimums on $70,000 worth of credit card debt. That situation's just getting worse every single day.
Hey, who's the Bank of America checking account?
That's mine.
Yes.
Okay, we started with $3.44. We have 2 children. That's disgusting. To do the spending that I saw you guys do while starting a month with $3.44 is disgusting.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. Children.
What can I say?
You guys are children.
Our kids love donuts.
And you won't even hold them accountable. You'll just cope giggle all day. Going out to eat. How much last month? What do you think? What would we guess?
800.
Okay. What would you guess?
1,000.
Okay. $1,122.73. What the is wrong with you guys? That is more, well, actually, with the 2 cars, that's not true, but it's close to your minimum payments.
That was also, though, because he was working 6 days on, 8 days off. Or
Pack him a meal.
He did take lunches, but breakfast and dinner most nights he would.
Pack him a dinner. I don't give a fuck. You guys are in debt. You can't hit your goals. You guys don't have anything in retirement and you have no emergency fund. Not having an emergency fund is an emergency. What are you guys going to do if an emergency happens?
It's just going to go on the credit card and the whole situation's going to get worse. Along with being responsible, raising 2 children, having absolutely no money in the bank account but still going out to eat, spending over $1,000 a month is crazy. Now this next clip is an interesting one because it starts off as a sob story, but it definitely changes the more you look into it.
And then this is just going to set us farther behind now.
Like many hardworking parents, fiancés Arthur Swayzing and Apollonia Cesaris just wanted a night to themselves Sunday. And what better opportunity than the Jonas Brothers concert at Little Caesars Arena? They drove all the way from Monroe for their fun night out, parked right here on the street on East Elizabeth around 5 p.m. and got some dinner before heading down to LCA for the 7:30 show. But when they came back around 11:30 p.m., nothing.
Started walking back, and then we were like, well, where do we park at? We were like, we know we parked over here somewhere.
Their 2014 olive green Ford Edge had been stolen. And not only is it the family's only mode of transportation to work and school for their 3 children, it's also the only way Swayzing has been able to get to his doctor's appointments after recently finding out some life-altering news. In that car was also Cesaris' purse and wallet, a car seat, and hidden in the trunk, the children's Christmas presents.
Okay, so this news story was just hitting it out of the park. Crazy sob story. But we head over to the comment section. Detroit police confirmed it was repossessed and not stolen. It wasn't stolen. It was confirmed by the police department that it was repoed. So now it changes to you not being able to afford your car payments, but you still went to a concert, had a whole bunch of valuable items in the car along with presents. I don't know how much their payment was for the Edge, but I'd venture to guess that those Jonas Brother tickets would be a pretty solid payment. Here we have another lottery winner that actually blows the first example out of the water, $13.3 million.
My dad won $13.3 million from the lottery. He took the cash payout, so he got, like almost like half of that. And I'm just gonna give you guys some more background on how he used the money. Like I told you guys, he ended up running away to Vegas, bought a house, gambled a lot, spent a lot of time at the bunny ranch. He spent a lot of his money on heavy equipment like skid steers and excavators and things like that. He wanted to start a company, and he never went through with it. He got cars and, all the luxuries you could think of. He was really into sunglasses. He took trips with his new girlfriend. They went to Hawaii. So he won in 2014 and he was pretty much broke by 2023.
So this one's a little bit different of a situation compared to the earlier one. Even taking half of that from the taxes, $6 million, is enough to be able to retire and do mostly whatever you want for the rest of your life. But instead, this guy went 1,000,000 miles an hour, went to Vegas immediately with the gambling, buying houses, going to the bunny ranch, which just is insane, had the thought of starting a construction company, getting the very expensive equipment needed, and not going through with it. So it's just a massive waste of money. And within just a few years, that's how $6 million evaporates. Unreal.
I know multiple people on Wall Street who are literally living paycheck to paycheck despite receiving 6-figure or in some instances even 7-figure bonuses. And you may be wondering, Jonathan, how is that even possible that you could receive a bonus that is hundreds of thousands of dollars or even $1 million plus and still be living paycheck to paycheck? And I'll tell you the first reason is taxes. Taxes when you make that much money are crazy. You could pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. But the second reason is these people tend to get out over their skis. They tend to indulge in something that I like to call lifestyle creep. They have a fancy penthouse apartment. They go on luxury vacations. They eat at Michelin star restaurants. They get bottle service at a club, which could be tens of thousands of dollars every single weekend, Friday and Saturday night. In Wall Street, a lot of times your variable pay, your bonus, can be a really large percentage of your total pay. My largest ever bonus that I received on Wall Street was actually roughly 60% of the total pay I received for that year. And so what people do is they don't actually make enough money from their base pay throughout the year to support their lifestyle. So they actually burn cash. They spend more than they're getting every paycheck throughout the year under the pretense, under the notion that they're going to get a big bonus at the end of the year and be able to support their lifestyle from that.
And that sounds extremely dangerous to me because you have no idea how much that bonus is going to be if you even get it. The entire job market is very fickle right now. Just imagine getting laid off when you've been spending more money than you've earned for months on end and then your income goes to zero. But the top comment I thought was really funny on this video, answer, poor money management from the financial managers. You really can't make this kind of stuff up.
My parents are literally always asking me, how can you afford this? How can you afford that? And the answer is so simple, I absolutely cannot.
A long time ago, I decided that I was not really interested in living within my means, and ever since then, I've lived a very $10 and $20 out kind of lifestyle. I would stop, but it's yet to all come crashing down. I'm doing fine-ish.
Don't worry, it will come crashing down one day, but this video was made by a travel influencer with the audio overlay, so this wasn't her actual means of how she traveled, but this video was relatable to many people. I personally think if you're single or not in a serious relationship and childless, this is fine, so it's okay to make terrible financial decisions as long as you're on your own. I mean, I do agree if you are a parent or have a family that rely on you, that would make this situation exponentially worse, but it doesn't make it okay if you're single and just destroying your own life. This sounds too funny. We all can relate. Really? My dad said, I gotta say, I'm surprised your job pays this well. I said, oh yeah, I'm very comfortable. Has $30,000 in credit card debt. I went out with a girl who did this throughout her 20s, and when she was 33 and wanted a husband, I laughed. She's now over 40 and single. There have been an increasing amount of examples that we've seen over my past few videos of your bad financial decisions creeping into your relationship portion of your life. But I will say, overspending definitely happens on both sides of the coin. It may be on different things, different items, different products, and I've seen an increasing amount of videos like this from a guy's perspective.
Buy expensive cars because they make you work harder. This obviously isn't financial advice, but it's what helped me level up from car to car. I've always loved cars since I was young, and I went from a 2015 Ford 28i to an S5 B9, and now to this, my 2017 540i, and hopefully in a few months will be in an M car. I've heard a few people say buy cars that you can't afford because it makes you work harder. And yeah, I can confirm that's completely true. Well, in my experience, of course.
Yes, with his experience, I would definitely not say that's the majority of cases. I also remember the same type of clip from another creator. I couldn't find the exact example, but it was a TikToker who's up on screen. He interviews people on the street who are pretty wealthy, asking them for advice. You know, everybody likes it. And there was another guy who did the same thing. Bought a supercar, penthouse, just a lighter fire under him to make him work harder. And maybe that works for some people, but I would say for many, that just puts you on a fast track to get a car repo on your record. I mean, here's another one. Boy math, buy the car you want so it makes you work harder with a C8 Corvette. And I know there are some people who are genuinely car guys, and I understand. You want to drive and own different vehicles maybe pretty consistently because you actually love cars. But there are a ton of others who just like what the car signifies to other people, and that can definitely be a slippery slope, let alone how easy this could be faked for social media.
I'm not naming no names, but I wish you guys knew how easy it is to fake being wealthy for the internet here in LA. A lot of those big money guys and your favorite creators don't live where you think they live. So up the street from here, we have this $100 million mansion that costs $90 an hour to rent out. A lot of creators rent that space once a week, film their content, and make it look like they live there. Rent a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, 99 bucks an hour. But there's even more because we also have designer rental services. It's between $300 and $800 a month, and you get bags, shoes, sunglasses, clothing, anything you need, all designer. Just wear it, get your pictures, and then send it back. As long as you didn't ruin it, you don't have to pay for it. You can fully construct a lifestyle out here of wealth. And that's part of the reason we're starting to get a bunch of influencer debt resolution companies now.
We'll talk a little bit more about influencers going broke later in the video, but then you start seeing a lot of the fans, the viewers of that content, start upping their lifestyle because of what they see online. And I mean, some of these posts just get way out of hand. Make me feel better. Our monthly expenses average $7,000 to $8,000 a month. What's yours? The description doesn't make it much better. I want honest numbers. We're a family of 3. Now, maybe if they had 5 or 6 kids, you know, a pretty big family, of course, that's going to be very expensive in 2025. But $8,000 a month on expenses? That seems a little above and beyond to me. I feel like we're always one Target trip away from losing the house. Feel like that's a textbook example of living above your means then. I feel this one. Yep, welcome to real life. Not trying to brag, but my monthly is $9,500 and I only bring in $8,000. $13,000 to $15,000 just living. Same, Connecticut with 4 kids is expensive. LMAO, you're not spending $200,000 a year in expenses, which honestly I can believe with the examples we've seen on this channel. I would not say it's $200,000 a year in necessities, but a lot more wants and things they don't really need. Our mortgage alone is $5,700. 2 kids in daycare, 1 car payment. Southern California, I can't imagine how much that is in total then. Right under that, wow, does no one live below below their means anymore? Doesn't really seem like it. What are we counting in this? Because utilities, groceries, cell phone, we're at about $3,500. But once you start adding in things like my Pilates membership, it creeps up to $5,000 to $6,000 a month. How much is Pilates, man? Private schools plus summer camps and classes for 3 kids. That's $15,000 a month alone for us. Right after it, $16,000 for Catholic school, travel, sports, mortgage, and Pilates again. This is truly unbelievable. We have a comment from you guys that goes well with the high mortgage payments. The problem also stems from people buying at the top of their budget. My wife and I both work and only bought our house that we could afford on one salary, and we're paying double on that mortgage, aiming to pay it off in less than 9 years. Most people just live way above their means and are ill-equipped for any variances like this, especially economic uncertainty, maybe a little bit of a downturn. That nice corporate job that you're making a solid income on doesn't have the best quarter, or the stock didn't go up like it's always supposed to, and then you're out of a job and in a really tight spot.
How many people is that for?
2.
It's just for both of you guys?
Yes!
How long is it at 4,600?
Because we got a suite. And it's
Okay.
going to be so good.
So you're paying $4,600 on a cruise when you're currently stacking. Are you ready for this?
No. Yes, all right.
$176,000 of debt.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Out of which $60,000 is credit card debt,
60?
Chelsea. 60 is credit card debt related.
Whoops.
Oops, I made a mistake. $60,000 gone. The top comment is exactly what I think as well. How do people not know how much debt they have? I guess they just believe the income they're getting is just paying for everything that's going out as well. That is clearly not the case, but still, go on that cruise and spend $4,000 as well.
I'm really curious how people are rationalizing living above their means when they know they can't afford it. For example, I know many people who have student debt, credit card debt, whatever it is. They have a job, but like, for example, I know someone who just bought a Range Rover and they're in probably $100,000 of student loans. Like, how are you, I have anxiety for you. How do you do that? Like, how are you justifying that? Why do people live above their means? Like, I grew up in a family where you get a car that is used and you make sure that it's a good car. Like, I'm not saying buy a crappy one, but get a good car, make sure it gets you from point A to point B. It's safe and, you know, checks the boxes. And then eventually, as you get older, you can justify getting a car because maybe you've bought in a house, you have all of those boxes checked that need to be checked. You're not in credit card debt, you're not in student loan debt. All of those things have been paid off.
But now you need to be seen in that Range Rover when you're 25 years old, not 65. And then one of the comments from this clip goes with the doomer mentality we've seen a lot. I believe right now people have just resigned themselves to being in debt forever. Well, you're not really giving yourself a fighting chance if you're making decisions like this right away. Life is short. I don't have time to wait. Could it be from the fact that we stare at our phones and want everything instantly all the time now, 24/7, that delayed gratification is basically a thing of the past? I don't know. Seems like it to me. Honestly, the phrase YOLO has been the reason why I buy irrational things. LOL. I remember when people would say YOLO ironically because of how cringy it is, but I guess it's just coming back again, and people are actually taking it seriously, as sad as that sounds. But a little part 2 to that clip, with the Range Rover, we have somebody who is on the other end of owning that vehicle.
Haley, how are you? This is Yusuf, the car dealer.
Hey, Yusuf. Thanks for calling back. I appreciate it.
For sure. I see that you have a beautifully spec'd 2022 Range Rover you're trying to sell. So break it down for me.
I do. I like the car, but my lease payment's $2,400 a month, and I'm looking to get in something new.
So I'm unable to sell leases. Are you looking for like new, or you just mean like a used car to roll over into?
Well, I mean, I've been going to dealership trying to figure out what to do. I went over on my mileage and I think I just want to keep this, but how can you help me? I mean, I'm in a tough spot because my job changed and I ended up going way over my allowance.
How many miles did you go over?
36,000.
That's not going over the mileage just a little bit. 36,000? But surprise, surprise again. I had a really good job. I could get that Range Rover and show off even though it's $2,400 a month for it. Then I changed jobs and lost that six-figure salary and I just need to get out of it into something else. But I'm stuck because I went over mileage and everybody knows actually owning a Range Rover, the maintenance is going to be brutal. We have another comment from one of you guys. This is why the government doesn't think people are actually struggling. People are spending ridiculous amounts of money on frivolous things and then cry that they can't afford rent or groceries. They're looking at the exorbitant amount of American citizens that are spending money on Amazon alone and thinking that, well, they must just not be struggling that much then. A majority of those purchases are going on credit, so in reality, people don't have that money, but it still brings up the profit for these massive companies and their stock prices will go up and they'll look good to the shareholders and everything just keeps chugging along even though it's getting worse. I mean, this next video showing how many people live paycheck to paycheck even with incredible salaries.
Percentage of Americans living paycheck to paycheck based on income. Overall, the study found that about 26% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, but the incomes that they focus in on begin at less than $50,000 all the way up to $150,000, where I think the data is most shocking, so stick around for that. To begin, those making less than $50,000 a year, 35% were found living paycheck to paycheck. For those making $50,000 to $75,000 a year, 24% paycheck to paycheck. For those making $76,000 to $100,000, 23% living paycheck to paycheck. For those making $101,000 to $125,000, 22% living paycheck to paycheck. For those making $126,000 to $150,000, 21% living paycheck to paycheck. And finally, for those making even $150,000 plus, still 20%.
Now, I think he ends his videos very abruptly to increase the watch time or people replaying the videos. I'm not sure, but even at $150,000 plus a year, 20% still wait for that check to come in every couple weeks. I could understand the percentage being higher with people not making as much, but once you hit over $150,000 a year, you should have a pretty comfortable life. They just choose not to with their lifestyle choices. It's just crazy to me. Then one of the comments, hello, Mr. Jones, look at my new car. Keeping up with the Joneses will keep you broke. Another set of screenshots. Daughter is napping for 2 hours. Tell me your monthly expenses amount. Down for a good laugh. Here's mine. $16,000. $8,000 to $10,000. Bad spending habits. Okay, the algorithm is algorithming because I was just freaking out to my husband on how we spend $12,000 a month. We buy nothing extra, really? Zero. Necessities and maybe lunch out and coffees here and there. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's probably a little bit more than coffee and lunch once in a while. Around $15,000 for basics, shelter, car, tuition, utilities. Like, of course, I understand everything being more expensive right now, especially in the past 5 years, but you can't tell me that $15,000 is normal for basics. $10,000 a month, 2 kids in daycare, 1 in after-school care. Being in New York doesn't help. I definitely agree with that. All in around $8,000 living in the suburbs near Cleveland. The comment right after that too just says $14,000. Our expenses have skyrocketed in the last few years, mostly because we moved to South Florida. Used to be in Minnesota with a tiny mortgage and paid off cars. Now we spend around $9,000 a month. Another comment from one of you guys talking about one of the issues we've seen previously. The truth is, no one should be spending above their means for their wedding, period. Whether it's $50,000 or $500. If the look and extravagance of the wedding is really that important, save for it like an adult. Because the stats almost seemed fake. It was like 48% of all weddings. The couple ends up going into debt for the party, just immediately putting a damper on the relationship, because one of the big reasons why people get divorced is financial issues, and definitely doesn't help if you spend $50,000 right off the bat just to get married.
If someone picks a destination wedding, they have to accept that not everyone can afford to go.
It's Machu Picchu, once in a lifetime.
No, you make a lot of money. You can go multiple times in a lifetime.
I don't want to go
if you
multiple
budget
times. I want to go with my friends and celebrate.
You're maxed out.
Wedding.
Debt.
I mean, the points paid for all the travel.
But you have paid more in interest.
I don't know. It's paying for my trip next month.
Where are you going even?
Tomorrowland in Belgium.
You have maxed out credit cards. You are behind on your mortgage and you're going to Belgium?
This was also somebody making a very solid income, but still the expenses heavily weighed out the money coming in, had to go on trips 24/7, couldn't wait or budget or save at all, not even paying his mortgage either. I mean, that's the top comment. Being behind on your mortgage but traveling is wild. Another comment talking about destination weddings, I lost a 28-year friendship over not being able to afford her $7,000 destination wedding in Mexico. She tried to encourage me to max out my credit card or have my dad take out a loan against his 401k. I don't know about you, that seems like an absolutely terrible friend. And that was a reply from somebody else. Now that's just evil. It seems like the trash took itself out. I know people will feel bad about not going to a wedding that's outside of the country, but you basically have to know that some people are not going to be able to spend thousands of dollars for your party. Social media and treating yourself has really gotten out of hand. Couldn't agree more, because it's way past just making a bad or silly purchase once in a while. I get it, we've all done it before, I definitely have, but realizing what you've done and not making it a habit will definitely help you not become a lot of the people we've seen in this video.
How you make $40,000 a year but you drive a Hellcat? How you out every weekend buying drinks but your credit card's maxed out? How can you afford to go on vacation when you ain't paid your car note in 2 months? Baby, your car about to go on a permanent vacation to the repo lot. We can't be having a lobster appetite on a ramen noodle budget. It ain't gonna work. I got the newest and freshest outfit down to the sock, and I ain't got no money in my checking account. What sense does that make? And I know because I've done it before, you know, trying to live above your means and impress people, and it just ain't it. I'd rather have people care about the content of my character first. It just ain't worth it to be fronting all the time and pretending. The truth gonna come to the light eventually. Do not spend all your money trying to impress people. They don't care that much anyways. The only person you should be trying to impress is yourself every day. So just remember, this weekend, drinks are not on you.
Dave Ramsey said, "We buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like. When that stops, your finances tend to get better." They're not ready for that conversation. They'll get mad and either say, "If you're broke, just say that." I've seen that a lot in comment sections. Or call you a hater. So like I said before, you can make a whole bunch of videos, give people advice, but some people you really just can't help. You gotta let them make their own mistakes and hopefully realize it eventually. I mean, we have a perfect example in the next clip. Living above my means for 20 years.
This is me being as completely honest and vulnerable as I think I could ever be on the internet. Right now is the most financially stable I have ever been in my life. And I have made six figures for several years. But it wasn't because of necessarily bad decisions. It was just trying to live above the means, the money that was coming in. Now here's the crazy. I got a whole bunch of money going into my 401k. Like when I retire, we're gonna be straight. It's just I didn't do real so good with the money that I was keeping with me. And right now, to say that I have $1,000 in my savings account, I feel pretty good. Like I can't even pretend like I got $1,000 in my savings account right now, and I feel amazing about it. You know, and it's just, I mean, be proud.
So I'm glad that his 401k is in good shape, hopefully helped out by his employer as well, but still you got some time to wait for that. And making six figures for several years of his life and now only having $1,000 in his account really does show you how crazy some of the spending can get. I wish high schools and even military would teach more about budgeting. We need to learn when we're young, not when we get in trouble. And hopefully that's what these types of videos help you with. Too many people have no idea how to budget and save. They want instant gratification of having something now, not saving and buying when it can be afforded. I mean, the biggest one in 2025 now woke up to 18 afterpay payments due, and it's not payday yet. Everybody loves the BNPL loans. Klarna is tearing me up. Yep, Zip, Afterpay, and Affirm all do. All my Beyonce and Vegas trip payments coming to haunt me next week. Oh, man.
You live at home with your parents at 30. You're a little boy.
I'm not going to sell the Mustang.
Why the f not?
Because, like I said, it's a dream car. I'm not going to sell
It's
a car.
Who gives a f? If you can't afford to live and you're about to get foreclosed on, get rid of the car.
Let's pay it off.
You wouldn't even send us the VIN. You're the first one ever to never send us the VIN. Why the f wouldn't you send us the VIN so we can get the value?
Because I was so determined that I'm not going to sell this car.
And what's the coming on a show where someone tells you what you should probably do? Sell it. Get a $10,000 car, take care of your debt. The rest of it, I mean, it goes to paying off a fifth of your debt.
That wouldn't even put a dent
It
in my debt.
accelerates. A fifth is a dent, you dumb.
The mental gymnastics he's doing to keep his Mustang, his dream car, while he's staying at his parents' house and can't afford to live. It'll barely put a dent into the debt, even though 20%, I would say, is still a significant amount. If you're not going to sell the car, be prepared to live in it. Probably wouldn't be a very comfy and roomy live if you're talking about a Mustang. And we even have people trying to show off now while actively breaking the law, committing fraud, just so they could drive around in a Mercedes.
You walked in for a new Benz, but you end up getting arrested. You tell the dealership that you want to pay $15,000 of it off today, and you want to go ahead and finance the rest. The salesman says, okay, all right, go ahead and provide me with your ID, and the salesman's looking at the ID and the social that you put on the application to finance the remaining balance, and they don't match. Dealership runs the ID through the database, and nothing pops up. Salesman asks, do you have a form of W-2 or paycheck that has the last four of your social security number on it, just to reference the information that you provide us with? And she says, no, I don't have one. I didn't know that I had to have one because I was going to pay for $15,000 on it with my debit card. The salesman says, no worries, that's okay. You're a 28-year-old woman. Your information should definitely be coming up in the database. You've been driving since you were 16. The salesman asks, okay, we're going to go ahead and start the process for getting this paperwork done and trying to stall. Ask for her form of payment of how she's going to pay so you can go ahead and process it. They are very suspicious. Hands over a debit card of someone that's deceased and said, oh, that's my aunt. How did you think that you were going to buy a car with a deceased person's debit card? Once they found out about the debit card, they went ahead and they ran that social security number and it came back to the name that was on that debit card. Shame.
I mean, just unbelievable. We've seen a couple examples now of people trying to use deceased people's credit cards, their social security, and getting caught at the dealership. I specifically remember a Kia dealership that made a TikTok about it, and they went big on this one. They wanted to drive around in a nice Mercedes-Benz.
Are you prepared to be a single mom here? Because the dude is literally ready to leave if we do not solve this. You ready for single motherhood?
No.
Tell me how much the household spent last month. We know what comes in, about 10K.
I think maybe like 11.
Okay, it was $22,229. You don't know what the is possibly going on.
I did not know it was that much.
In a 30-day month, she spent an average of $733 a day. How do people spend 22 grand a month? What do they even buy? That's why I feel like it's so hard to believe, oh, I didn't know it was that much. Really? You don't know that? Come on. But we could switch over to some of the professional athletes and the celebrities that have gone broke. And that's why I think financial literacy is so important. It doesn't matter if you make $50,000 a year or $5 million a year. There are tons of examples of people making insane money, not knowing how to budget, live above their means, and still going broke. We have one example right here that I hope doesn't actually pan out, but with this type of spending immediately, it doesn't look good.
Look, I don't mean to tell you how to spend your money, but I feel like somebody needs to speak up about this. So, Patriots rookie Braden Swinson, the first thing he bought after being drafted was a Lamborghini. You can see by this graphic that his NFL salary is less than 700 grand after taxes. The Lambo costed 250 grand. How many athletes, professional athletes, have we seen go broke because of stupid shit? Spending a third of your yearly salary on a car is crazy. But here's the part that's really concerning me. He's a 5th round pick. What are you doing, dude? 5th round picks usually, quite often, like 80% of the time, do not pan out. I mean, maybe you're the guy. I don't know. Maybe you do pan out, but all I'm going to say is that's so risky, dude.
I also hope it works out for him, but statistics don't lie. There are not too many people that get to have a 15 or 20 year long career. Of course, we hear about that with the athletes who are the best of the best, but especially with something as physical as football, there are a lot of people who will maybe make it a season or two. Maybe they get cut. They don't have anything else to fall back on, but they already bought the mansion and the Lamborghinis and all the Rolex watches. And what are you supposed to do after that? There are a ton of different YouTube videos you could search up with different professional athletes going broke. I hope that this isn't another case, but it's not looking good, honestly. We could go over to one of the celebrities that you've probably seen if you're on social media a good amount. T-Pain, the rapper, was very open about him going broke and being very transparent about how expensive things could really get and how important it is to stay on top of your money.
My accountant was like, dude, you just bought a Bugatti. You're like out of money. And I was like, no, I'm not. I got this house I want to get. I got this other house for my assistants and, you know, all my runners and my producers and stuff. So we bought a house after that, and we just started going crazy with the money. I wasn't paying attention to it. Because, you know, I thought if I didn't have access to my own accounts, that I wouldn't have to look at it.
When you say you was broke, was you at like $0 broke?
I like had to borrow money to get my kids Burger King.
Wow.
Yeah.
After having, what's the most you ever had in the bank at one time?
40 million.
Bro, that's my worst nightmare. $40 million to zero, my God.
Yeah.
So that's what he's been doing recently on social media. I think there's a clip that's gone around that he just took a normal flight somewhere and people were asking, why didn't he get a private jet? Blah, blah, blah. And then he actually showed the ridiculous price of flying private and how unnecessary it really was. And now he's trying to help the next generation not make the same mistakes.
So the reason, you know, everybody asks me, why are you so transparent? Why are you so vulnerable and like that? And I'm just like, if I would have had the information beforehand, I would have done better in my career. I would have been bigger. I would have gone broke. I would have never done anything. But everybody before me that I had to look up to, they were just like, no, this is great. Once you start rapping, it's just money all the time. Just nothing's ever gonna happen bad. Nothing bad's ever gonna happen. Your family's not gonna come after you. Nothing's gonna happen. It's just rap, and it's just girls and swimming pools after this.
And unfortunately, that was not the case for him. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.